Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dragon Mount. I am Crystal, and my slightly less hairy brother tonight, Thom, is right there. Welcome to our Monday night rewatch. How are you, Thom, in your nice warm weather down there?
Yep. It was a little chilly today. It got down to like 67, 66 or something like that.
Oh, 67.
Yeah.
It's only -5 here.
Sorry.
Just a little cold. With like 12 inches of snow. It's fine.
No thanks.
That's no big deal.
No thanks. It's a Rosa. Hello,
it's
friend.
It's a Rosa. And Gnome. Hey, Gnome.
Glenn. I want to call him Glendon. Even I don't know if that's his proper name or if it's just Glenn. I know a Glendon.
Is that when he's in trouble? Glendon, get over here.
Glendon? I'm just going to start saying
that. Well, happy Monday. I'm happy I have power and that we're here.
Yeah, that is good. That is definitely good. We had I need some good vibes. I need everyone to send me some good vibes because we've been having a few cat issues. Not with Luna. Luna is in his spot. He's fine. There he is.
Yay.
Luna's doing his thing. It's with our other friend, our doofster, Luther.
Oh, sweet boy.
Yeah. He's he hasn't been eating and he's getting like nauseous when food gets anywhere near him. He like gets all drooly and is not eating or drinking. So we had to bring him to the vet, and now we have to like force feed him, and he doesn't like that obviously because we have to like put food in a syringe and inject it into his mouth, and hasn't been. I've been not sleeping a lot because we have to keep doing that, and then like watching him and making sure he goes to the bathroom. So I could use some good vibes. So if everyone wants to send some good vibes for Luther, that'd be fantastic. And I just want to look at his face again because he's such a
his little vampire teeth are so cute.
Yeah, this is his normal poses too. He's like a little bit of a doofster.
He's so cute.
Yeah.
How old is he?
10 or 11. He was born under a bush in front of my brother-in-law's house.
Oh, so he's still a young guy.
Yeah, he's like 10 or 11. Oh, yay! Hello.
Ew.
Ooh, on the ocean. That's fun. I wish I was on the ocean. But I was going to say, speaking of doofuses, I wanted to bring this up before we got further into the show. But real quick, is that one of those hats that it moves like the ears?
No, this is actually a spirit hood.
Oh,
you take your I love them. They're not sponsored or anything, but you can take like a little quiz and you can find your spirit animal. And so this is a Siberian snow leopard. He's my butt.
Yay, that's fun.
And very, very warm to the point where it's a little hot in here, but he's very cute.
So our friends over at Screen Rant did another Wheel of Time article in the last couple of days. I wanted to like
there's it your bestie or someone else?
It is a new person, a name that or at least a name I haven't seen yet in the articles that I've read. Let me pull it up on our little screen here. There we go. And make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So this one is by Zahar Huslid. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm probably saying it wrong, but I know Zahar because I know a few Zahars. So 10 minor Wheel of Time characters who are way more important than they seem. Now, it's a cool article. I read it. I agree with most of their points, but they got a couple of things wrong. Let's see if you guys can spot what they got wrong. So we don't even really need to read every word for you guys to spot it. I'm sure. So calling out Basil Gill is a great one. Basil Gill in the story, as everyone that's read Wheel of Time knows, is pretty important, especially for some of the later books. He comes up a lot, and he's a fun character, like, a lot of as most of the side characters are. But I wouldn't say he's like integral to anything. Like, you could remove him in the book completely just without doing anything after the first book, and nothing really would change later on.
That's true, but I always appreciated his character. I kind of, when I first read the series, kept waiting for him to not be so good and so awesome, and he never was.
Like, it comes out that he's bad or something.
Mm-hmm.
The Masima is a great call, or Hot Zima, as everyone says. Is a good call out. I like that they acknowledged here that he was one of the few members of the company who did a prayer. in the show. So like that could be like a little bit of a hint toward his fanaticism or something like that, which is, for later on stories. Then they have Joya, which, if you've finished the Wheel of Time series, she's, this is a quote from the books. Her story kind of picks up there in the middle, and she does some interesting things. Now, okay, so this next one, first of all, without scrolling down, you can see the next one there. So number 7 is Bane. Now, that's a mistake right off the bat because it's not Bane and Chiad, and it's never just Bane, and it's never Chiad.
They're always together.
Yeah. Now they reference Chiad. They just call her sister, which also isn't correct.
Incorrect.
Yeah. But the fact that it isn't Bane and Chiad is just, it's funny. But all right, so let's see if you could spot the next mistake.
No. No.
That's not.
No, that's not
Bane.
that's not even an Aiel.
Nope, not even a little bit. So obviously there's nothing really in this article. It's just kind of explains who Bane is and then who's playing
one of the 2 Aiel warriors we meet in episode 7. Okay.
Oh, that's funny. I prefer Chiad and Bane. Okay. Well, I like it because it's Avienda, Bane, and Chiad, the ABC.
The ABCs. Yeah, it needs to be in alphabetical order.
Yeah, that's just me though, or us at least.
Wow.
So okay, here's the next one.
Nobody proofread that was.
Yeah, I mean, you don't really need to read it. It really is just talking about her character in the books. It just explains who she is, and then like that she protects Rand later in the books, and that's pretty much it. So the next one, again, good character, fun character. Also not Bile Doman.
Hello, friend. Oh my god.
What's up, Reverse? What's
going on? No.
Also not Bile Doman, though. Still not Bile Doman.
Also not Bane. Okay. Yep.
They talk about Bile Doman's stuff in the earlier books, and again they talk about how he collected the Quendiar, and that's pretty much it again. Just explaining on what the character is. The only bit that they really gave in like a character backstory and how it could change the show or how it would influence the show was in Massima's character. Everything else is just explaining who the character is. Okay, so then we're going to go to Iman Valda. Now we definitely think we're going to see more of him.
Oh, good. Oh, there he is.
It's still not Iman Valda though. Still not him.
Oh no.
Yep. Like again, they just go on to explain what he did in the show versus a couple of the minor changes from the books, and then what he did later in the series.
Okay.
Still not great. Now, Dane, on the other hand, Dane. Hold on, because every time we mention Dane.
Yeah.
Dark friends beware. Dane is coming.
They cannot have messed this one up. No way.
They didn't mess this one up. They didn't mess up Daddy Dane. They didn't mess him.
He's so pretty.
He is very pretty. Oh, and they actually, so we got more pictures of him. It's not just Elias. That's a good one. It's like a little. He's like quizzical here. He's like, what's going on? And then not very happy.
Still hot though.
Yeah. So this is the other one where they actually reference something that could be brought up into season 3, where it's like, the 2 rivers and how he calls them 2 rivers, and how in the books he went to the 2 rivers and besieged it. So like, this is something that could actually be useful to someone who's reading this article that wants to know what might be coming up in season 3. Aram, same thing, just explains on who he is. And then finally, we actually have Elias.
Man, the myth, the legend. Okay, at least they got it right. Would have been worse had that picture been wrong.
And then we finish, and again, they just explains who he is, and that's pretty much it. And then the only thing is that he served as one of his parents' closest advisors in the last battle. But then Hopper, they had to, rub a little salt in that wound. They talk about how he was killed by, they talk about the differences from how he was killed in the books versus the TV show. And this is the other thing that I liked about this article was who's going to train him in the Wolf Dream. Is it going to be Perrin? Is it going to be Hopper? Is it going to be somebody else? I've already said I think it's going to be Guy Roberts as Uno. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping maybe Guy and Hopper. But I also want to point out that this article came out on the 29th. it's the what is it, the 6th, and they still haven't fixed the pictures.
Wow.
So I maybe not blame Zahar because it might not be entirely his fault or her fault or their fault. I can't see the picture. But it's somebody messed up. Someone messed up.
And just doesn't care. Really. They messed up and they just don't care.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. When I was looking through and I was like, this article's not that interesting as I was reading it, but then I noticed that all the pictures were wrong.
But also, and again,
yeah, I was like, that was a little rough. Anyway, on to brighter things. By brighter things, I mean our guest for this week.
Exciting.
So our guest for this week is an author who is an award-winning author, actually, very talented. I had a ton of fun talking to them at Multiverse Con, and she does what does she call them? And a collection of erotimance novels. Is what she called them.
That's exciting.
They celebrate love, passion, diversity at every stage of life. And I'm excited to bring her in. So let's see if she's still backstage.
Look, here comes an awesome guest.
Hi.
Hi.
That will never get old, Thom.
I love it. I want that to be how I wake up every morning.
With the song, with the music too, like the horns?
Yes.
All right.
Much better than the alarm clock.
We'll see what we can do. How are you?
I'm great.
I love your shirt. Free mom.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. It is one of my favorites. I actually, for the first time in years, somebody actually claimed their hug. And it was like the best day. I was almost in tears and I wouldn't almost let them go. I was just going to hold you forever. But it was awesome. So I loved it.
That's funny.
Yeah. Yes.
So erotimance, did I get that right? Is that a good? Okay.
I got tired of saying erotic romance all the time because I'm lazy. So I made up the name erotimance.
Perfect.
There's romantasy. Why can't we have erotimance? Yeah. So now I could say erotimance fantasy.
There you go. Or horror or science fiction. You can just do whatever you want with that. That's fun.
That's right.
So you have a couple of the books, werewolf, demon, vampire, erotimance. The one that I was most intrigued about was the druid one.
Mm. Yes, that's the first book in the series, and it is a series. If you start in the middle, you're not gonna know what's going on. You're gonna say Sydney Brianna is crazy, and I think she's smoking crack.
You're talking to the right. You're talking to the right group about series. Don't worry.
Yes. So my series follows a team of 7 immortal warriors who fight against religious apocalypse. So the apocalypses. Why all of a sudden?
Apocalypse-I?
Yeah, all of a sudden it doesn't sound right, like the right word. But anyways, that are created by religions, old and new. They're actually given entity in a way that this team will go and combat them to keep the earth realm from falling into despair and damnation or whichever way you're going, depending on your faith. So yeah. I mean, it's there's Greek mythology, there's Christian mythology, there's what? Did I say something wrong?
No. Our
yes. Vikings, Ragnarok. I can't even think of all of them, but anyway,
a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yes, a little smattering of bringing in folklore and mythology into modern day.
I love it. Those are my favorite. Those are my. I don't know why I'm so drawn to like mythology, like people when they take like when you take mythology and just like twist it a little and put it together with other mythologies. And I love when it comes into urban fantasy. Like that's I don't know why I'm so drawn to those types of stories, but I really am. I love alternate history ones, and
I think it almost makes it seem more real or more possible when it's connected to something that, you know, is familiar to us.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's quite relatable, and you know, it's almost familiar because you've seen it so much, and like you said, it kind of it breathes life into it.
So what is it that drew you to doing like did you set out to make it like an erotic romance kind of series, or did it kind of happen? Is that how did that work?
So when I started writing, I had just had a hysterectomy, and I was looking for reads, romance reads. I love romance. I love fantasy. I love romantasy, but I was looking for something that kind of represented me a little bit more in the situation that I was in life, older, kind of going through whatever. I couldn't find it. I couldn't really, and I'm sure it's out there. It's just in that moment, I just couldn't find it. And I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to write something that I would want to read. And so to answer your question, the first scene that I wrote was an 11-page sex scene. And all 7 books just blew up from that one scene. And it was amazing. It was amazing for me at the time. It was cathartic. And then as I continued on, well, you know, the creative process, I mean, it's the best therapy.
Yeah.
Unless you're ripping your hair out because you're frustrated, but still it's the roller coaster, right?
Oh,
it's all the emotions that you feel while you're doing it that makes it amazing. So
yeah, that's fun. So have you gotten, is that 11-page scene in any of the books, or is that like something that's been kind of spread through it?
Oh no, it is the first sex scene, pretty much the first full-length sex scene in Druid. You know, so in traditional publishing, they would want me to cut it back. But I was like, hell nah. This is my flagship scene that people are going to have to ride the wave or skip the page. I mean, this is
wow, I love that.
I love that.
So, yeah. No, I kept it in. I love it. It is the foyer into that world for me. And so I kept it. It will forever be that long.
Perfect. I have the ebook currently downloaded on my my Kindle.
Oh, awesome. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to be reading that after I read my The Bones Beneath the Skin book that I have to read.
Oh, I love that title.
It's a book coming out from Tor by TJ Klune. It comes out what month is this? It's January. It comes out in like February or March.
That's awesome.
I'm going to be interviewing TJ Klune next week, so I have to finish that book so that I can do that. But as soon as I'm finished with that, I'm starting Druid because I love.
Oh, awesome!
I love the Celtic and Druidic like lore. It's some of my favorite stuff, the fairy stuff, and just the Celt, which they never really called themselves the Celts, which is funny.
So they the one thing that I wanted to do with my series and my characters was create a global representation. And so the first one is Druid. He's a Scottish Druid. The second one is a Greek Titan. The third is a Russian vampire. The fourth is an African in Pandulu.
Oh, wow.
The fifth is a German noble elf. The sixth is a werewolf. And the seventh, Native American indigenous werewolf. And the seventh is a Spanish demon. So, and actually the nature of the team is that they can't all be the same. They have to be from different species and different places to create more of a checks and balances so that they don't become too autonomous. You know, they have to kind of have a little bit of difference to make it really work and be awesome. So
that's cool.
I love diversity. I love reads that have different faces from different places. Those are my favorite.
How did you how much research did you have to do on the different?
Lots. I've been down many rabbit holes.
I always like. I wonder if we could do a game of like where it wouldn't be like an invasion of privacy. Like, what's your Google search history like? Authors have some interesting ones because it's like, you know, what would a gunshot do to her, or how would a sword, pass through someone's bicep into their bone? Like, what would that do to someone?
I know, and then if you add the erotic element to it,
man, yeah.
You get some fun pop-up ads.
Exactly. And so that's one of those, like, you really need a bestie to erase your browser history for you.
You're probably already there, reverse. Yeah.
Right.
That's funny. But yeah, like I said, the amalgamation, I guess you can call it, of the different religions is really cool, and the different mythologies is interesting. I love that a lot. And when we spoke at Multiverse, wow, my brain was just like, that name isn't there anymore. Your husband was there too, and he was really cool. So how is he in this process? Does he read over your stuff? Is he a fantasy lover? Like, how does that work?
He actually doesn't like to read.
Oh,
But he read my first book. He read Druid, and I was like, could you just sit down and tell me if it's shit? Just like hit me with it. And so he said, okay. And by the end, he said, wow, I really think you're onto something. This kept me engaged. I really enjoyed it. But that was a little challenging because, he knows me, and I wrote quite a bit of myself into Scarlet, who's the character. Because again, I was trying to write somebody who was kind of older and had lived a little bit, and that kind of character. So, some of the things he says that my character says, actually, he's like, I could totally see you in that moment. Like, that was absolutely you. So at that time I thought, well, maybe it's just fun, familiar for him, felt comfortable, right? My mom read it. My dad read it. I knew when my dad read it and he came back and didn't light it on fire that it was okay. And he says, well, I skipped over the naughty bits. And I'm like, sure you did.
Uh-huh.
We'll just say that.
Fair.
Yes.
That's fun. So, are you guys like gamers? Are you old school nerds? Like, what do you? Where do you fall on that spectrum?
Okay, so by the way, I have to say he's actually in the thread, and he's Chris Hornauer. He said the smut parts got me through. But he is a techie. That's his jam. I mean, I am a dunderhead when it comes to tech, and I was messenger with Thom. What am I supposed to do? How is this working? Like, I was going through my emails. I started 2 hours before just to make sure I could get here on time. And then my husband was up here monkeying with it. But he's a techie. That's his jam. I've always been a reader. That's my nerddom. Although I don't really play games except for Pokemon. I have Pokemon cards. I have TCG and Pokemon Go, and I got into that because of my son.
Oh, that's great.
So he's fun. Very much into games, and I was like, I gotta find something where we can connect.
Yeah, that's great.
And
I also love Pokemon.
Oh, yeah. Torterra is my favorite. He got that for me in Japan when they went for his graduation trip. So he brought me Torterra because that's my favorite one. But,
that's fantastic.
But yeah, I'm kind of old school nerd. Just more of a reader.
My favorite is Abra. Erin, my wife drew me the picture.
That's lovely. Look at that. She's pretty good at that.
Yeah. she's got a couple of good. I got a couple of her pictures hanging up in here actually that she's done. They're behind my computer so I could see them. So they're like here. You guys can't see them.
That's great.
No D&D. You haven't played D&D or any kind of
I have not. I tried to get into D&D. We have a little comic book store down the street called the Dragon's Lair, which is amazing. I love it. But I went in there and I tried to find a group, and I kind of started with them, and then they were never there. I don't know if they broke up or, well, I don't know, disbanded. I'm not exactly sure what the terminology is. But then I just never really found another one to kind of enter the fold with. Plus, I'm really new, so
well,
I don't know what I really bring to the table in that respect. But I was hoping to find a group that was new as well, and we could kind of grow together.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, you found the one of the main issues with most D&D groups is just, they peter out, or they just, it's, especially as you're not kids anymore. Like when you were kids, yeah, you could get a D&D group probably pretty quick if you were in the right town, you had the right circle of friends or whatever. But now, everyone has jobs and kids and everything, and having a group actually stay together and meet regularly is a feat in and of itself. Forget about actually playing and getting the game going, and having a group that is, not toxic and fun and engaging and things like that. If you've never played, I would definitely say it's the game is second to the group. Okay. It all depends on the people that you're playing with. You can take two of the same exact games, as in they have like pre-made modules or whatever, and you can play the exact same characters in the exact same game, but the people that you play with are different, and you can have the greatest experience or the worst experience.
Yeah.
It's all about the people that you play with.
I've been trying to drag my friend group into it, but apparently I'm the only mega nerd in the group.
Fair enough.
It's all right. We have been talking about getting an online game going because I always wanted to play. I grew up in the Bible Belt, and shame on me, that was not allowed when I was a kid from my grandparents. Like, it was
Satanic Panic.
And I didn't get to play. Yes, it was the devil. And I didn't get to play, and I want to. Like, I just spent a week and a half researching classes and all of that, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So when we get that happening, we will definitely invite you.
Oh, I'd love that. Thank you so much.
We're going to be doing what are called one shots. So it's like, instead of being an ongoing campaign, it's something that you just sit down, you play once or twice, and that's the game, and you just kind of play it in a self-contained kind of thing, kind of like playing board games, like you said, Arosa. So there are a lot of fantastic board games out there that mirror play of D&D and things like that, but are again self-contained in a board game where you don't need a DM and you don't need pencils and paper and character sheets and making characters. You're just like, oh, I'm going to play this miniature character with here's his card, and just like a board game. There's a lot of really fun games that are like that. Some of them are literally Dungeons and Dragons, sponsored by Wizard. They're called Dungeons and Dragons, whatever, Worm Rest something or other. And then there's another one that's based in another campaign that's called Strahd, which is basically Dracula. And it's like a board game. It comes with a map, like a board, and you open it up and you put your pieces on the board and you play just like a board game, but it's got all of the D&D flavor mixed into it, with none of the having to do the prep work and be a DM and things like that. The game itself is the dungeon master. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to kind of play the idea of D&D without having to actually play tabletop RPG games in general. And then,
do you mind sending me a couple of those games?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Yeah. There's a lot of games that are like that. There's not just Dungeons and Dragons. There's Star Wars and Cthulhu, Lovecraft games, and science fiction-esque versions of those types of games. There's all different ones, but One of my favorites is called Mansions of Madness, which is Lovecraftian, obviously.
Oh, nice.
You play different characters, and there's two versions. One, the older one, one player is the game, essentially, and plays as all of the monsters and the setting. So whether it's like a cursed forest or a haunted mansion or whatever. And then the newer version of that actually comes with an app that you download.
Oh, wow.
And you play the app does the things that the player would have done. So like, when you move into a room, you just click on it in the app and it'll tell you what happens and all that.
Oh, that's
so
really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like being the game. It's fun for me, but not having to do all the setup and things like that come with the app is nice too. But obviously, we talk about D&D and tabletop role playing game because of Vox Machina and the theme around that. So it'll be interesting to see some of your thoughts and things like that on especially some of the stuff that's in the next couple episodes. There's not a lot of D&D thing. There's not a lot of stuff that's in the show that's overtly Dungeons and Dragons. There's like little references to things that, like, if you had played Dungeons and Dragons, you'd be like, oh, that's funny. Like, oh yeah, I see that there. Mm-hmm. And then in the way some of the spells work and things like that, you would be like, oh, I could see how they moved, like they incorporated the rule for that spell in the way they animated this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I always like having different perspectives on these shows. It's fun. But is it just like, oh, I want to watch this interesting fantasy show on Amazon, or what brought you to Vox Machina?
You did. Oh. I didn't know about it.
Yay.
I didn't know about the show until you mentioned it at Multiverse. And then I started watching it. And honestly, I think I have a couple of episodes left in season 3.
Okay.
But I have really enjoyed it. I have really enjoyed it. It's been a lot.
I'm glad.
Well, I loved the first episode. I was hooked.
I was about to say, I was literally, the word, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say you were probably hooked from that first episode.
I was like, these are my people. This is it.
Yeah. They let you know in that first episode that this is not a children's cartoon. They have a gnome going down on a half elf in a bed naked, and someone's arm gets cut off in the next scene, and it only goes up from there.
Oh yeah, no, it's perfection. I love it.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm gonna get our watch party ready and give everyone like a minute or two so that we can get that going. So I'm gonna post a link in chat in a second. Now it's making me re-log into.
Glenn was asking, which fantasy authors have you read that like kind of led you to write fantasy?
So I really like romantasy, fantasy, of course, Tolkien. But when I was growing up, I honestly read a lot of like Austen and Bronte.
Oh, wow.
Dumas. I was the 16-year-old reading The Man in the Iron Mask.
Oh my God.
So my English teacher loved me. Because some dude next to me, for example, has the history of sports. And I've got Alexander Dumas. But anyways, so I really didn't get into fantasy until I started reading romantasy. That kind of segued me into really kind of discovering more about what the worlds could hold. Now, I will admit, I am not a creative enough to like write high fantasy. I mean, I admire them so much for the worlds that they create and everything they can do. But I would say one of the ones that really sparked the flame for me in that genre was Cressley Cole with her Mortals After Dark series. There's like, I don't know, I think 18 books in that series. And she had these epic adventures in there, and she had paranormal creatures. And of course there was love and lust and adventure and all of this. And I was like, I'm in. This is it. So I always reference her because she really lit that spark in me for romantasy. And then of course there's so many great authors after that. But yeah, anyway, so I would say her, she really did it for me with the romantasy.
Okay. That's I've heard of Cressley Cole, but I've never read The Immortals After Dark.
I mean, it is straight up smut, but she has some great fantasy elements in it. Like I said, the worlds that she creates, the peoples.
Yeah, I mean, it's gotta have some story and backstory, especially when you're playing with mythology and supernatural creatures. You gotta have some stuff in there for it.
Yes, yeah, and so she has a competition in there called the High, and it's just, I want to be a part of it. Like, I want to be in there. I want to be hanging out with these immortal critters, and it's really it's a great read for me, anyways.
Okay, that's another one that I got to add to my ever-growing list.
Yes. It can be a little rapey. I will say that. Back in the 90s, early 90s, late 80s, it like. So if you're offended by that alpha male type of character, it may not be the series for you. I'll throw that warning out there. But I don't have very many triggers, so it was it was a lot of fun for me.
That's fair. It's less a trigger for me and more of just like meh.
Yeah.
You know, like it depends on the rest of the character personality type thing. I did post the link for the watch party, so if you want to give, if everyone wants to give it a try, it looks like people are joining, so I hope it's working properly. When you do join, it should just be a paused screen. No one will be able to press pause. I have the power. If people are going to follow along and watch by other means, which again, as always, I'm sure are perfectly legal.
Totally legal.
You totally paid for your way to view them. I will. I have our little timer on the side of the screen here, so that will you can line up with the timer if you get lost. And we'll give everyone another minute or two before we get started. But and for you, Sydney, you should be able, if you're in the private chat, you should be able to click on the link. The links that are in the other chat, you won't be able to click on.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. The So you said you're up to season 3 in Vox Machina. So do you have a favorite character? Or is there maybe a character like their magic or their combat styles that you like more than one than the other?
So I really like Pike. Her heart, she's, I feel like, a very genuine character, and she. Oh yeah. So I would have to say she's my favorite.
Okay.
I enjoy her quite a bit. I love them all, actually, but
they're
I
awesome.
would say if one stood above the rest, it would be Pike.
That's fair. There's Pike. So for D&D side of things, Pike is the cleric. She's a cleric.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So kind of like a warrior priest type thing.
Yes, yeah, she's great, and I love some of the turmoil that she went through there with her faith, and
that was really cool.
Yeah, it was.
I love the way that they've brought in the way the classes function in D&D into the story, like with that. A lot of people, especially in that first season with her. One thing that a lot of people issues that a lot of people have with clerics and faith-based classes is the crisis of faith type thing that a person can go through and how that would affect their magic. And I think they played with it in a pretty fun way. Also, is a little fun fact for you. When they were, so this is obviously, I don't know how much you know about what this is based on. It's based on a live play D&D that people playing Dungeons and Dragons live at a table. That's what this cartoon is based on, is a game that someone was doing in the past called Critical Role. I think it was like the second or third campaign that they did. And the character who voices Pike in the show, Ashley Johnson, she couldn't attend the games, every single game, because she was taping a TV show, I think. And oh yeah, here she is. And she had to zoom into a lot of the games that they played. So the way they kind of played with that in the show is she was astral projecting into with the party. So that was a fun little thing they did.
That is fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things like that they play with. That's been that's been really fun throughout the series. Not just stuff in the from like the real life things that they've brought into it, but from the game, the D&D game itself. There's some stuff with Grog in these episodes that are going to be fun. But before we go off on too much of a tangent, let me press play on the episode so that we can get started with that. All right, I'll give everyone a countdown. Where's my time there? So many screens, so many tabs. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, so it's playing now, and the timer should be going. It's going, and is it lined up? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. All right.
Close.
So, obviously, so I'm also guessing, since you haven't played much of Dungeons and Dragons, you don't really know, like, the story of the world that Dungeons and Dragons is set in very much.
No. This really was an introduction to all of it. But I have to say that when I started watching it, it had the feel of other fantasy works, that I was familiar with. And so it didn't feel foreign. You know, it felt familiar, and it was.
That's good.
I love the inclusivity in the show.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that. That was one of the things that I noticed right away, and I was all for it.
Yep. And it was the live play Dungeons and Dragons game was also very similarly done with that.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're very big. Oh, and there's the Mercer cut, by the way. The guy that runs the show. He was just on. I forgot to take a screenshot of it. The guy that was the DM of the game, the dungeon master of the live play game, and he's kind of runs everything. His name is Matt Mercer. Mm-hmm. He's also a very prolific voice actor. He voices the bear in the show. He's Trinket. That's his picture on the top right. The artists of the show have inserted his face into a lot of the characters in the show, unbeknownst to him. And his character in this episode was just one of the dead people that like flashed on the screen.
Oh, okay.
But just to show you one of the other ones, this is actually from the first episode. Oh no, not that one. Where is it? The one where there it is. Scanlan pees on him in the first episode.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. You can see the face, like there's his face there, and there's his face there. He's always a half elf. He's always got the long hair and kind of like a little bit of a lost
would be my second, I think. He would be my second favorite because he's a horse.
He's so great.
Oh yeah. He's such a slut. I love him so much. Yeah. And I love that he's pansexual. I love.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
He's how open he is and talking about everything is fantastic. How open all of the characters are.
Yes, yeah. And it's so natural and comfortable. Yeah. You know, it doesn't feel staged, so to speak. I really appreciated it.
I mean, they're great actors, but also they're the show does a good job at writing that. I mean, why not? I mean, if there's a decently attractive goblin, I'm sure he'll sleep with them. He's like pretty much anything that moves. Oh, it was the last episode where he gave Grog the suppository.
Oh, yeah.
It just went right back there. No problem. That's a good point, Gnome Garden. That is a good point. We are assuming that he hasn't already slept with a goblin. Mm-hmm. The little half goblin, half gnome running around somewhere. The way that something that we've talked about a lot is the way that this show handles the balance of like serious tones and comedic tones are pretty fantastic. Not just like horror or gore or whatever, but just any kind of serious tone balanced with the comedy, I think is done masterfully. Like I haven't seen anything that feels like too out of place or in bad taste, in poor taste, or anything like that.
I think for me, part of the way that they accomplish that is pacing. They don't linger too long in the dark before they bring you to the light. They give you the dark, and then they push you on to the light. And so for me, that's because I mean, some of these scenes are pretty gruesome.
Oh yeah. Especially these two episodes. These two episodes in particular.
They throw it out there, but then just that little bit of whimsy or whatever that they throw in.
It's just enough.
Just enough, yes, to kind of we'll call it edging.
Perfect. Speaking of Pike, though, the relationship between Grog and Pike is one of my favorites in the show.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. She's so patient and loving, and they seem like the perfect pairing.
Yeah. The especially, is it this episode, or I think it's next episode, when the fight comes to a head between Grog and his uncle, and he pulls Pike in like that. And in the first season, when Pike had to go off on her own and do her own thing, and how sad he was, and it was the way that they've written the big burly barbarian character has been pretty fantastic in this series.
Yeah, I thought, it was interesting when I first started listening to his character. I thought maybe it was a little too on the nose that he was kind of the big dumb one, but he's very endearing, and I really enjoy his character. But that was the only, I guess, I don't want to say dig, but that was the only thing. I was like, oh, that's kind of obvious,
Yeah. The racial alignments. So, I see what you're saying. So orcs are bad, goblins are good. They don't do that in this show that much. So that's something that's which is evident in a lot of fantasy. So it doesn't really need to, you don't need to know D&D to know that. In most fantasy, orcs are bad, goblins are bad, elves are good, gnomes are good, humans are good, and they're viewed that way. I think in a lot of recent fantasy, they've been doing a really good job of subverting that.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's trending more to based on the character and their personalities and their values rather than who they are as an individual.
Racially, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, his little beret is pretty fantastic. The so for the D&D side of things for you, Grog is a Goliath, which is basically a half giant. That's what all of the people that are in this that are in his little group that are like blue with the tattoos, or greenish blue, or however you want to look at, grayish blue, they're Goliaths. So they're half giant basically.
Got it.
And they do a good job with him subverting the dopey barbarian trope, I think. And funny enough, Scanlan's horny bard is the trope that everyone usually goes to.
Yeah, it is. He's just so entertaining.
He really is. And I've said it a bunch of times. I think the thing that makes his version of it the best is the fact that Sam Riegel, that's the voice actor, can sing so well. So he doesn't just it's not like you're sitting at the table with your friend and he's like, and then I sing a song about pooping. He sings a song about pooping.
Exactly. So my husband isn't typically into these type of shows, but we were watching it together, and he's enjoyed it as well.
Oh yeah.
I think the reason that we didn't finish the third season is because we got into Arcane.
Okay. Arcane is so good too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arcane is a show we've yet to do here, but it's on the list of ones to get. But what we usually do is put 4 options out for people to vote on social media. People vote on it. And it's been on the options once, but I think Avatar: The The Last Airbender beat it out.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sad about that.
Not me either.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack in Arcane, so that will be
So
a really
good.
cool one when you
Oh, yeah.
finally get
Oh,
to
it's going back on there because I love that show.
Yeah, yeah.
Another one that I love the animation style of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. This one is also pretty fantastic.
Oh my gosh, the fire scene, at the beginning of this episode was gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to actually watch it like on my television because my kid was in bed and it was.
Yeah. Yep.
And
how many times have you seen this series?
I actually hadn't. I mean, at this point, a lot. But I actually hadn't started watching it until people had voted on it to win.
Oh, okay.
And be perfectly honest, I looked down on it a little bit. I was like, how good could a show that's adapted from a D&D live play really be?
Yep.
And I just, I was like, I have so much other crap to watch. I'm not going to watch it right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it won. And I was like, all right, I got to watch it. And I love it. I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
The writing is amazing. The acting is amazing. The characters that are in it are amazing. For instance, the uncle there, Henry Winkler.
Love him.
There's so many people in this. Yeah. There, Henry Winkler, Dominic Moynihan, Mary and Pippin have both been in it. Stephanie Beatrice, which if you've watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or she's fantastic.
Yep.
She's a semi-reoccurring character in this. Who else? Corey McCannon, who the Hound from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
So many people. Gina Torres from Firefly, Serenity. So many people that are in the show, not just the main characters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Cheech Marin was last week. He had a little bit part last week when they all got high. Yeah, he was the voice of Trinket when they were all high on the mushrooms in the fairy realm.
Yeah. That was a cute episode. I enjoyed that one.
I like how they're playing, the way that they're playing with Grog's, like where does your strength come from, and I like how it all is tying back to the friends and their party, and it's as a group. There's no one character that outshines the others. They're all together, and their strength is being together and doing things together.
Well, and there's something very endearing about learning humility.
Yeah.
And we see enough arrogance all the time, right? It's nice to see somebody be humbled and learn from that moment. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And another thing that I really like in the show that they do is the characters are affected by their experiences. Yes. They don't just pass through things with no issue. They're left scarred, physically, emotionally. They have traumas that affect them, and not that I like seeing people go through horrible things, but you feel more seen, and it's more real, not just realistic, but it feels better to see characters not just brush these things off and be able to just move on with no thought on it. They deal with their problems.
And that actually it tends to happen in action movies or action shows. They focus so much on the physical that they lose the emotional, and this kind of retains that and gives you the action and adventure. So it's a really nice balance.
Oh yeah. The animators, something that we talk about a lot. The animators of this are animated all of the early, mid to late 90s and early 2000s DC stuff. So everything that was on like Fox and ABC, NBC, Justice League, Superman, Batman, things like that.
Yeah.
Him losing his strength too is I hesitate to use the word fun, but it was a a good thing for his character to go through. I liked it.
Yeah. It almost, again, I go back to the humility. You know, he was riding high, right?
Mm-hmm.
In his own strength and ability, and then to be kind of emaciated to the point where he can barely stand. It's humbling.
Yep. He couldn't feed himself. He needed them to wipe his butt, he was saying before.
Yes.
So
Yeah. And the other side of that, it makes him very relatable, because you can just imagine what that might be like for somebody to be so capable and then lose that.
Absolutely. The lack of communication that they have a little bit with, like, is very tropic for fantasy, which I'm sure you know. Is like, you know, they don't share everything with each other to their own detriment. Was him with the sword. He let it get a little too far. If he maybe talked about how the sword talked to him earlier on, they would have caught on that, and maybe he wouldn't have been left, holding that whole bag at the end. But the way that they, like, that wouldn't normally be the barbarian. I feel like the barbarian wouldn't have been the one with the sentient sword and doing the thing. And I like how they played with that, where it was like, even the episode where he had Scanlan play the poop song for him.
Yeah.
The sword was sighing at him. It was pretty fantastic. I forgot who's playing. What's her name? Kaylee. I forgot. Eileen.
Marisha Ray?
No. Kaylee is the daughter. Scanlan's daughter.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm watching on my iPad, and underneath it says Marisha Ray. Is Keyleth? She's one of the main characters. That would be. Hold on, I got you right there. Yes. Mm-hmm. Love that. Marisha is Matt Mercer, who is the creator of all of the most of this stuff. That's his wife. So it's not lining up for me. So there will be, if you have ads, it may. Yeah. So I don't have ads. I had hoped that if I had upgraded to the ad-free one, that it would translate that to you guys too, but it did not. But the ads don't line up anyway, so even if we both had ads, they wouldn't align anyway. No, they would be different. Yeah. So at worst comes to worst, the time should be lined up. There's 10 minutes and 9 seconds left in the episode. Mm-hmm. Aisling Francosi is playing Kaylee. She was in that new movie that just came out with what's his name? What the fuck? James McAvoy. Sorry. Oh. The horror movie that came out with James McAvoy recently. He's like his wife, I think, in the movie. I like her. Oh. I'm a big wuss. I don't watch a lot of horror or. That's fair. I really. My wife hates horror movies, so usually if I want to go see a horror movie in the theater, I have to invite. There's a friend of mine that I go to all my horror movies with now. Yeah, my son and my husband go, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm gonna stay here and be a wuss. I'm gonna own it. Get a T-shirt. It's fine. Fair. It's fair. I don't tolerate it as well as I used to. I used to be a huge horror buff, but now there's certain things that are just a little too real. It's interesting. Hey, Rapunzel. Oh, yay. She is the meme queen, Rapunzel. So yeah. I understand that. It's interesting because I could stomach a lot more before my son was born. And then, when I was actually studying law and I was going through a criminal justice class, and we got to this section on crimes against children, I'm like, I'm out. Nope. See you later. I've passed that point in my life.
That is entirely fair and understandable.
The skinny Grog makes me think of a basketball player. He's just so like tall and lanky and slightly awkward looking.
Like those, like when you see the really
like
tall
7 foot tall, that are just awkwardly proportioned and like,
There's recently a guy that was like that. He was very, like 7'4", 7'5", and not a very good basketball player. But he was getting drafted into the NBA just
because he was
for how tall he was.
Yeah.
He quit, and because he also has like bone issues. Yeah. And became an actor, and he was in the most recent Alien movie that just came out.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
He plays the creature at the end, which is like a freaking creepy looking half alien, half human thing.
That's awesome. It's funny. I don't know the episodes like you do, but I remember watching the one where the zombies were. I'm calling them zombies, and I swear there was this one, and I said, "Jesus, is that a White Walker?"
I know which one you're talking about.
Oh, okay.
They did do that to reference Game of Thrones a little bit.
Oh, they did. Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know if it was on purpose or if I was. Yeah.
I even used that in the video game I've been playing recently. I was like, "Oh, look, the White Walkers. They're here."
Yep. Oh, that's funny. Well, you should definitely check out Sydney's stuff. Sydney is an erotimancy author.
That's cute.
Let me post the website again.
Are you going to Frolicon?
I am not. I am actually in Florida. Oh. I'm not in Georgia. I just go to a lot of Georgia conventions because that's where all my friends live. Though I've heard so much about Frolicon, and I do kind of want to go.
I'm going this year, so I'll let you know how it goes.
Have fun. Are you going as a guest?
Yes, I'm going to be on. Well, if they accept me on panels, I'll be on a couple of panels.
Cool. The tech guys that did Multiverse, and they also do JordanCon and like every other convention in Georgia, almost including DragonCon. Also do Frolicon, so
awesome.
They have some interesting stories from Frolicon.
I'm excited. I think it's going to be awesome. I wanted to go to DragonCon. I was this close to buying my ticket, and then I had a conflict pop up, so I'm not going to be able to go. But next year,
it's an experience. It's a very large.
I was like, it's very, very big. That's overwhelming.
80,000 people, 90,000 people.
Yeah, they were telling some stories at Multiverse. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I haven't been in a couple of years. I don't know if I'd go as an attendee again. Like, I'd probably only go if I'm working, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot. I'm also too old, I feel like, at this point. Like, I don't want to be drunk all day and like dealing with that. Like, I don't even want to do that anymore. I feel like I'm too old.
I feel that in my bones. I feel that in my bones. Absolutely. I was in bed at like 9 p.m. on New Year's, bitching about the fireworks. Like,
oh my God, they were so loud.
Y'all.
Actually, I think that's where. So my cat, the one that I was talking about earlier, Luther, he hates fireworks, and he gets so fucking stressed out when the fireworks are going off. So, and that's when this started. So I'm hoping that it's just stress related, and after a couple of days, he'll get back to normal.
Oh, I hope your baby gets better.
Oh, I hope so. That's awful. I didn't think about the fireworks. I hope that's it. He just got overly stressed.
He tries to crawl inside of your body when that's happening.
Bubba. Do you give him like calming treats, medication? No.
No, I don't want to give him. I feel weird giving him stuff.
I know.
The vet said we can give him like a half a Benadryl if we wanted, but I'm afraid to give him stuff if I don't know how it's going to affect him.
My dog was terrified, and of course, like every time the sports teams here win, or it happens a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thankfully, my neighborhood they stop like pretty, or like we have. There's a fireworks show.
Oh.
That the neighborhood puts on, And then once that's over, it's pretty much that's it.
See, they're illegal here, and so I think people like run outside, light one, and like run back. You know what I mean? Like they go back and forth a lot, so it happens for hours, hours and hours.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Oh, who's doing his voice? Kevdak. The guy that's doing Kevdak's voice was somebody that I was like, oh, I didn't realize.
Ralph.
Yeah, I forgot what he was in now.
Ralph Ineson.
Yeah, I had it pulled up. Oh, this is Speak No Evil. That's why I'm like, this is not. None of these people are going.
No. I would be out there. No, I'm sorry, I was reading Gnome's comment. I had fireworks until 3 a.m. I would be out there with a rake. Like, get off my lawn, go to bed. Damn children. Also, if you wake up my child, I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah. Luckily, mine's 18. He was probably out there watching the fireworks.
We're doing it. Yeah.
Like, go.
Mine is only 3, so when he sleeps,
yeah,
blissful.
We're gonna just let it play right into the next one. So if anyone's following along, otherwise, I'll have the timer up. It should be up now. Yep, and it's going, and we're going, and it's lined up perfect. Okay. So it's just gonna play. It should have just played right in. So if you're following along in the watch party, it should have just played right in. If you got an ad, sorry, it'll catch up afterwards.
Ad-free has been worth it. I don't know why I didn't do it before. It was not that different.
I'm just a smidge behind you, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's here it comes.
So our twins for the D&D side of things are a rogue. Vax is a rogue, and Vex is a ranger for the most part. So they have their beast companion. They're very stereotypical, like, person of the woods type thing.
Mm-hmm. I love their dynamic. They feel like siblings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They didn't, but sometimes.
Oh, here's Gina Torres, by the way. She's the old woman with the gray hair.
A lot of times with siblings, they try to play up a rivalry or a discontent, but
they have a beautiful relationship.
They're very supportive of one another, very loving, and I enjoyed that.
The whole group is very supportive of one another while still having a little bit of interplay, which in D&D at the table, you don't really like to see. Like, I don't like player versus player combat in D&D. Like, I like to avoid it. But the way that they do, like, say, Vex and Scanlan, how he was withholding the activation word for the broom from her. Like, that was fun. Like, that's a way to have like a little bit of conflict between two party members without it becoming a thing, without it becoming toxic or, having a negative impact on the group or anything like that. It's just more like two characters kind of bantering back and forth while still being true to their characters. A lot of the trope that a lot of people use for D&D is like, when someone's being a dick with their character and asshole, they're like, oh, well, this is what my character would do. So.
Yeah. I think that's why it goes back to what you said about having a good group. Like, I haven't played, but I've definitely heard stories of some toxic things happening at the table.
Yeah. And it's especially harder for women to find groups, I'll just be perfectly honest, that don't have that built into it. Like, especially younger women or women that, because dudes be dudes, and there's horrible, shitty dudes in every fandom and in every game. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
For a long time, it was viewed as like a male thing, Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, truly, that's why I don't play a lot of video games online, like random. Like, I usually just play on my console because it is just way way too toxic.
Oh yeah, it's too toxic for me. I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
If I play a game that's online, one of the first things I do is shut off chat.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the first things I do.
You know, some of the games my son tries to show me, and I say try because I quite literally get seasick.
Oh
With
no!
how much jerking and everything. I think I'm just too old for it, but
That's fair.
some of it's beautiful. I mean, the artistry that goes into
Gorgeous.
it. I just can't hang. I also can't drink. So I mean, I just apparently none of that fun stuff for me is.
Oh, there's plenty of other fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
So Settlers of Catan is a good game. I like it. It's like everyone's like introductory board game to board gaming that isn't Monopoly or Life or whatever. But it's a fun game. I like Settlers.
I can't think of the game that Aaron and I played the last night of Jordan Con that I loved. It was like Cathedrals or something. It was patterns. I don't remember. It was so fun. I need to look it up. It just reminded me.
There's literally thousands and thousands of board games.
I know. That's why it's so hard. I've never.
So many good, especially for people like you said that don't really can't get into video games or have getting motion sickness from video games is a very normal thing. The 3D generation it's just like people wearing 3D glasses in a movie theater. Some people can't do it.
I can't sit too close in a theater. My astigmatism's pretty bad and it messes with me. It makes me feel gross.
I remember the first IMAX movie that I went to go see. That's dating me a little bit. It was this nature video, and they were in. I like this scene, but they were entering in over the mountains and flying over. I had to look away and close my eyes. Oh no, this is not going to be good.
See, and this is why we are going to be starting when we do change over our Patreon thing, which should be soon. Humberto, we said we were going to do it either first or second week. It looks like it's going to be the second week of January. We're going to have our own game servers for some games.
Yes.
Dragon Mount's going to host their own game servers for a few games that generally have a little bit of a more toxic online community. So like it'll be just the people that our community of people, which are pretty good people for the most part. Except awesome. Gnome Garden, he's a little bit of a weirdo.
Wow, Thom.
You know it's true.
Ooh, I found it. It's the Grata. It was a really cool, really simple like patterns game. Like you went around and you picked dice and you had to put stuff in patterns. This was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is nice.
Oh,
I love a good coloring book. I mean, I know that I love a good coloring book.
Oh, I got an Idris Elba coloring book for Christmas. Very exciting for me.
Like I would just drool over that all the time. That's all that would happen.
Do you know the other ones that are cool are like the sticker coloring books? Have you seen those?
No.
So it'll take an image and it'll like essentially pixelate it or break it up into a bunch of little stickers. And then it's kind of like color by number, but you're matching like the sticker to the page. And they're beautiful. Like it ends up looking like stained glass because they're all different shapes. They're really pretty. I got one of those for Christmas, I think 2 years ago, and I love it.
Oh, that's cool. My friend does the like the rhinestones. The
the little
like so it's all blingy when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My wife does those too. She
what are they called?
I forgot.
Oh yeah, me too. I can't remember.
Where's Aaron?
I used colored pencils.
Oh yeah, 100%
colored pencils.
The crayons are too fat for me.
Well, they don't, and they like.
I want sharp lines. And
yeah, me too.
Are you an outliner? Do you outline things and then color them? Me too.
Yes.
Aaron is probably sleeping because we did not get any sleep yesterday or last night. Like last night or the day before.
Oh, it's hard when your babies are sick.
Yeah. Well, we kept watching him because the last time this happened, like he almost died. So we had to bring him to the vet. He had to go stay in the vet. They had to keep injecting him with water. And, but the last time this happened.
Water right now?
No.
Come on.
But
Yeah.
when we syringe him, it has a lot of liquid in it.
Right.
This scene is a little rough.
Yeah.
When they scream buddies, I was like, he's like buddies. Ah! It has a lot of liquid in it, so she said, and they gave him a subcutaneous injection.
Okay.
Yesterday morning. So, she said if he doesn't start drinking and eating on his own by Wednesday, I have to bring him back in.
Mm.
And then they'll keep him and put him on an IV until he starts eating and drinking.
That's where you wish you could reason.
Yeah. I just want to be able to talk to them. That's it.
And be like, hi, dude, you don't want to do this. Like, you don't want to have to do this. This is
just drink. Just drink some water, buddy.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
So another D&D thing that they just did was him saying, I would like to rage. Mm-hmm. So the barbarian class, their whole shtick is they rage. It's an ability that the barbarian has. They activate their rage. So a person who plays a barbarian would often say, I would like to rage. Like that's so him say the fact that he says that to do his raging is funny.
He's basically hulking out.
Yeah, that's what I think of it as too.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, he got a little big.
It's always great when you get that you get a scene where it's motivated by love and protection, you know.
The way that they do it in this is always great. Like in the first season, it was Percy trying to constantly, do things himself and not, whether it was him wanting to get revenge on the people himself or not wanting to put his friends in danger. They were like, no, dude, we're here. Like this is it. This is we're together in this. And and a lot of this season has been like them just showing up for each other in the moment when they need each other. And that's kind of like what happens right now.
That's kind of that stubbornly independent trope is popular in romance, actually. Mm-hmm. Mm. Like, I don't need anybody. Yeah.
The dark, broody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially with a lot of fairy type creatures and the fae. They're usually the dark, broody fairies or vampires.
It's interesting. I just read an article about fairy fantasy, and there was a book blogger in oh my gosh, she's Welsh. Why can't I remember the country name? She's Welsh.
England?
Yeah, but it's
Wales.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
I don't know anyways. She was saying that it's actually become offensive that romantasy authors continue to use Welsh names in their stories.
Huh.
And so then the conversation becomes the difference between authenticity and appropriation, right?
Yeah. That makes sense. Just using it because it's, foreign.
Well, yeah.
It's more of like a kink instead of
but if you're writing in that world, you want it to feel authentic so that your reader can immerse, right?
Yeah. But you don't want to just use the names though. You gotta, if it's gonna be Welsh, then it should be Welsh, not just pulling a name out for no reason and putting it somewhere that it doesn't really fit in.
Well, I think she was comparing it, or she was discussing it because they do have a lot of fairy culture, fairy lore in their culture.
Yes.
And so she's like, this is our culture, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, if I wrote a Russian vampire and his name was Bob,
it would be weird. It would be weird.
It wouldn't quite have the same.
Vladimir. one of the things that the Celts, like the Celts referred to.
Oh no!
The Lunacam fell over. The they referred to themselves as Brits because it was Britannia. Sorry, Luna, we disturbed your sleep. Are we going to get docked pay for that? Luna's our boss.
He's very cute tonight too.
Yeah, he's very cute every night.
She's kick ass with that.
Oh yeah!
My gosh, yeah. This scene is just this whole part. This is incredible.
The action is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oof, it's a little gory. Definitely a little gory.
That's great. Yeah. Oh.
He beats him with his own arm. Like, not his arm. He rips off his arm and he beats somebody else with his own arm. Like, it's great.
Yeah.
That's why he was like, oh, that was badass. So that's the other trope. Not trope, but that's the other kind of mechanical thing from D&D. We saw it a minute ago with the female barbarian that was on the roof with the guy when he was shooting her. They're kind of not immune, but resistant to physical damage. So like it doesn't affect them as much, especially when they're raging.
Yeah.
Mechanically, the way that comes out in Dungeons and Dragons is they take half damage from physical damage. So
it was really such a tiny thing in this scene that I noticed, but I see it with Percy a lot, like the little glasses push up. I don't know why I love that so much, but just like let me get ready for this shit.
It's the anime thing, you know. When you pushes the
Here we go.
Up.
Getting ready.
She uses the Pokeball. I mean, you can't tell me that that's not what that is. It's a Pokeball.
Yeah.
Yes.
That gesture that you were saying, just pushing up the glasses, it just brings that realism to it because after at some point your glasses are going to slide down your face, and so
when you're getting thrown around by half giants,
very human. I think Scanlan's probably my favorite, but I also really Percy's. He's fantastic too. Ooh,
I didn't have a good. I couldn't quite connect to him in the first season, Percy. I didn't know. I don't know. I still don't know what it is that. Probably the being stubborn, and by choice, just pushing everybody away.
Yeah,
because it was for me. I kind of wanted them to have that dynamic where they were supportive of one another and they were kind of open, and they are. And in that moment, though, he was kind of the outlier. And come on, join the team.
I think they tried to make it to like it was the demon that was in the thing that was kind of trying to pull him away from his friends. Like it was trying to the word, put him by himself. There's a word.
Isolate.
Isolate. That's the one. Yeah. That's the word. They were trying to isolate him. Wow, my brain. The Adderall has worn off today. For sure.
So there's a series, an anime series that you actually you may know it. It's I'm trying to remember. It's Ragnarok, something Ragnarok. Now, typically I don't get into anime, and even this particular show had these elements. For me, anime sometimes when it does that big fake scream.
Yeah.
Those moments where everything is melodramatic. I get a little turned off by those. But the concept behind the show is really cool because it's this battle of gods from all different religions.
Ooh.
So it's really cool in concept. And
I have not heard of that anime.
I gotta try to find I was trying to look it up on the phone here, but then I want to watch the show because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
have you seen Avatar: The Last Airbender? Have you watched that?
Which one? The recent?
No, not. I mean, live action.
Animated.
I was talking about the animated one.
Yeah.
About half of those.
Okay.
And I started watching the live action one with my son when it came out. I think the animated one was better.
Oh, hands down, in every way.
Yeah.
So much better. There's a couple of specific scenes that I really enjoyed in the live action one that I thought that they did really well, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I am not typically an anime fan, and that's become pretty much a staple in my house.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's true. I've lost my oh, wait. I currently have one of my Aangs. My son fell in love with the show, and he keeps taking all of my things. Like, he ran off with my Zuko. I had him back, and he's and so I occasionally get to reclaim them when he's done.
It's nice that you have that with your son.
Oh, he's, I didn't know he's so little if he was gonna care. He doesn't attend to a lot of things like that for very long. He enjoys it, and he'll talk about it, and he lost it the other day because he couldn't find Aang with he calls it his flying sword. He couldn't find Aang with his flying sword, and it was about a 30-minute.
I mean, I'll always do more Avatar: The Last Airbender. Mm-hmm. I feel like we almost have to do Korra next because we're gonna.
I know. I wanted to do Korra.
We got to get ready for the new show. Like the new show should be coming out this year, so. Maybe not next though. Next we're gonna do I don't think I have to announce that we're gonna be doing Wheel of Time, but we're definitely doing Wheel of Time next.
Yeah.
It just so happens to line up that there's exactly 8 weeks from next week when we finish this one and the beginning of Wheel of Time season 3, and there's 8 episodes of season 2 of the Wheel of Time. So we pretty much have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of his music. If most of the if he has a song in an episode, 90% of the time, the end credits will be the entire song of whatever song it is.
Oh, nice.
There's a second verse of the poop song that he sings in that episode that's in the end credits of the episode.
Oh, apparently I'm not patient enough.
Well, they don't play it either. They don't play it either. Like, they only play 10 seconds of it before they go into the next episode. The other thing that I like about this show, and especially like you can see it in the scene, is like they show the female characters drinking and having fun and being into the jokes and rowdiness of things, and not just being like, oh, the boys are so stupid and they're drinking.
Count me in, Glenn. I'll be there. I'll do that for you. You just gotta give me dates.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Just give me a heads up.
Farscape?
Just 24/7 Farscape? That sounds great. They kind of like, since the last season was like mostly about Percy, they kind of fuck with him a lot in this season.
They do. Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of screen time, and he's usually the butt of a lot of the jokes.
Mm-hmm. But I did find him a lot more endearing in this season.
Oh, for sure.
For me.
Yeah, no, definitely. And his the way they're playing up his relationship or his, whatever with Vex is also nice.
Well, I like those little sexy bits too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, Scanlan. The scene with Scanlan and the Sphinx from the other episode was wonderful.
Yes.
The fact that he called him the most wisest sage he's ever encountered was wonderful. But the real conversation that they had, where Scanlan was like, I want to have a family and I want to but it never works out, or something comes up, or I ruin it, or whatever. It was a nice look into his head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, Glenn. He definitely probably was the butt of many a joke.
Mm-hmm. I love these little bikini briefs that he's in.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I wonder if that's a reference to. So there's a game that is basically Dungeons and Dragons. It's called Baldur's Gate. It's a video game.
I've heard of it. Mm-hmm.
There's a pack of items that you can get from if you watched like a Twitch stream of someone playing the game when it first came out, and one of them was a pair of underwear that looked exactly like that.
Wow.
Oh.
I wonder if it's a reference to those. Also a little creepy for her.
Yeah. I didn't realize that when you first go into the scene. I thought there was a little something there, but I didn't realize where it was headed. And after I went, ooh, oh, I don't.
Yeah. Like I feel like she let it go a little too far. You're like, look, it was like 4 seconds until they start the next one. All right. I'm going to close the player. If you're watching in the watch party, it may just continue playing for you, but I stopped the video because we're only doing 2 as per our normal things. And we need something to watch next week with our guests.
Yes.
Fair.
Well, then now that I mention it, might as well show it. Speaking of our next week's guests, we will have 2, in fact, because Beth needs to come back for the last episode, and I can deny my sister from another Mr. Nothing. So she will be coming and joining Christina Gruel, which if you've watched any amount of our episodes, she's been on at least, I don't know, 2 or 3, I think, of the rewatches. She was another person that had never really been into animation at all. And we were like, oh, well, we're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender next. And she was like, all right, I'll give it a shot, and fell in love with it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The writing is just so good. So good. They subvert and change a lot of the normal tropes of things so well. And it was...
the characters have a lot of emotional depth, too.
Oh, yeah. Especially for a children's show.
I think that's why I can't
obviously
theorize that, but yeah, I mean that's why I
like it too. I mean that's why it's still so attractive to adults and people who are not 12, because you can see a lot of those themes in it, but the way that they don't hide them from the kids, they just do it in such a way that still speaks to the kids.
That's right.
Obviously, Vox Machina is nothing like that.
Nope. Nope.
No, of course, my kid's 18 now, so I'm like, hey, you need to go watch that show.
Yeah. There you go.
I can't even, I have to do it when he's in bed, or watch it on my phone with my earbud in, ready to put the phone down if he walks by.
Yeah.
You never know what Scanlan's going to be doing or who Scanlan's going to be doing.
That's true. That's true. But even a show like Arcane, that might even be too emotional and too deep.
It's a little too dark.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a little too dark.
Yeah.
I love the animation in that show though. The artistry of that show is absolutely gorgeous.
It is. Yeah. And the characters,
it's so interesting too, because they're so profound and the writing is so great. And if I'm just based on of what I know of you so far, I'm sure you know nothing of the video game that it's based on.
No.
Yeah, but if
my son told me that. Oh, this is a video game. Okay, cool.
Yeah, but the game that it's based on is so nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Like the show in any way. It's a, I don't want to say dumb, but it's just it's called a MOBA. I forgot what it stands for actually, but it's basically like a multiplayer game where 2 teams of people stand on one side of the map and the other side of the map, and you have to just kind of try to get from one, to the other team's side and kill their castle. Essentially, is what it is. Has nothing. There's no story there whatsoever. None. Zero. The characters that are in the show are the characters from the game, and there are if you click on the characters bio in the game, it'll have a little bit of a backstory. Mm-hmm. But that's it. There's really no story within the game, and that's all the writers of that show is that story.
Yeah,
they basically just took the characters from the game, and that's it.
Yeah. they've got some pretty awesome character development in that.
In
that show, you got the artistry, but then the development of the characters and the storyline.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Rapunzel. It's too emotional for me sometimes. It's a little dark. There you go, multiplayer online battle arena MOBA. I remember the whatever anagram. No, it's the abbreviation. I remember the abbreviation. I just couldn't remember what it stood for. But the adaptation is interesting, and that's what really kind of when I thought about it when I first started watching Vox Machina. It's such a different type of adaptation. Like we've seen books to movies, movies to books, video games to cartoons or movies or TV shows or whatever. But this is a live play acronym. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
There it is.
It's such a different type of adaptation, Vox Machina, because each of the characters were created by the voice actors who were playing them, because it was just characters they made for a D&D game. When they first started playing, they had no intention of making something like this.
Right.
They were basically like out of work voice actors that were all friends, and they were playing D&D. And then they all were like, hey, why don't we stream this? And it revitalized all their careers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Anytime you can do something that you love and be successful at it, it's a win-win.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm so jealous of them in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of being able to do things that we enjoy, I like doing this, and because they let me do whatever I want. One of the things that I really enjoy was when I was younger was Inside the Actor Studio. So that's why we started doing our little Inside the Dragon Mount Studio bit at the end here. I thought it was a good way to throw the attention of the show back to our guest, learn a little bit about the guest, but also fun, silly questions. And
yes.
I totally just stole them from James Lipton and Inside the Actor Studio. We put our own twist. Crystal and I put our own. Thank you. Crystal and I threw our own twist on it, but they're especially like the first 4 or 5 questions are just stolen straight from James Lipton. He was. I give that show and him all the props, because it was very influential on young Thom. I watched almost every single time I saw it on TV. I watched. With that being said, hold on a sec. I have to do our little professional thing that we made, because we're super professional here.
Look, here comes an...
We are, but I clicked on the wrong thing.
Yep, there it was.
I love that. Can I get that from my phone?
I can send it to you. I have the file.
That's awesome.
Welcome to our Inside the Dragon Mount Studio segment here.
I still want you to have a pipe, Thom.
I have ideas. I have a plan.
Okay.
I have ideas. Don't worry. Maybe our next show when we do it, well, I'll have. Don't worry. We'll see.
Will it be like Sherlock Holmes or Gandalf? What kind of vibe are we bringing?
Neither.
No?
You'll see. All right. So yes, we have our 10 or 11 questions. It was a 10 question thing that James Lipton did, but we're a little crazy here, so we added some extra ones. And the first one, we jump right out of the gate with hard-hitting questions. That's just our thing here. So, Sydney, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Micropachycephalosaurus. Now, there's a little bit of a story behind that.
Okay.
My son, from birth, was a dino nerd.
Awesome.
And so, of course, me being an avid reader, we would sit down and we would read encyclopedias, dino encyclopedias, and we would look through the pages. And that's really, if your kid can read dinosaur names, by the time they hit kindergarten, they can read anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so his first day of kindergarten, we went in to meet his teacher. And he's shy. He's standing behind my leg for dear life, clinging to me. And she's like, Hayden, what are you into? What's he into, Mom? And I said, oh, Hayden loves dinosaurs. And she goes, oh, Hayden, what is your favorite dinosaur? And he said, Micropachycephalosaurus. And she goes, I don't even know what that is. It's like, is that a long neck? I said, it's never mind.
Never. Don't worry about it. Triceratops.
Yes, that will forever be my favorite dinosaur.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's actually funny enough. So the first person that we asked that question to was the showrunner for the Wheel of Time show, Rafe Judkins, and his favorite dinosaur was Pachycephalosaurus.
Oh.
The full-size version.
Yes.
Never heard of the micro. My son is also dinosaur obsessed. So we have dinosaur books and encyclopedias and toys and all sorts of things. He claims he wants to be a paleontologist when he grows up. So we'll see.
Up until 2 years ago, my son was going to be a paleontologist. Then he realized there wasn't enough money in it.
Yeah.
And so now he's in math. I'm like, okay. Whatever your journey is your journey. But yeah, for years we were sure he was going to be going to school for paleontology.
That's fun. Okay, our next question. What is your favorite word?
So I love this. It's a made up word. Excuse me, but it's
all words are made up.
Yes, true. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That takes me back to my childhood. I must have seen Mary Poppins, like, I don't even know how many times. It was during probably a more tumultuous time, and it just brought such levity and heart. And so it's always been one of my favorite words.
That's great. I saw someone do a cut of that recently, of the song recently. That was really funny. They put a different beat in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a TikTok. It was funny. I think it was a rap beat they put in the background, but it worked perfectly with the way the song was sung. It was pretty cool. Anyway, what is your least favorite word?
I hate this word with a fiery passion, and I even hate saying it to
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But it is queef. I absolutely hate that word. I had a friend, and he would always say it to me because he knew I hated it. There was aggression. It's just like,
friend.
I hate that word.
Understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, do you have a favorite, like, from fantasy or fiction, like, replacement curse word?
No, I mean, back when back when my son was younger, I would say sugar, honey, iced tea.
Oh, that's funny.
Just try not to, like, I mean, I don't know why I tried, because I'm a pirate and it ended up being what it was. But every once in a while I would try, and that would be one that I would use.
I love that. I made an effort for a little while. Now I've leaned into there's a time and a place for all language. And I just, don't go to school and say fucking goddamn it and we're fine.
That's right. Yes, exactly.
My rule with my mother was if it was funny, I didn't get in trouble.
Yeah. And that's pretty. I also don't like this whole idea that any language is inherently bad. There's just a time and a place for it. Like the other day, he thought his Happy Meal got messed up and he fell to the floor, Victorian lady faint, and said, they messed up my goddamn Happy Meal. And I was like, it's fair. You got it.
Yeah, that's tragic.
That's fantastic. All right. What is an everyday sound that you enjoy?
Well, I don't hear it anymore, but when my son was a baby and he'd be resting on me, it was his sigh, a contented sigh. It's a coo and a breath, and it's quiet. You feel me? It's just, it was beautiful.
That's awesome. Do you have an everyday sound that you hate, you can't stand?
Yes, when the front door of my office opens at work, because then I know everybody's coming. And I get there a couple of hours before everybody else, and it's quiet, and I can focus on what I need to, my objectives of the day. And then once that door opens, everybody's in my office, and I'm like, oh.
I've had enough of you people.
Yes, already.
All right. So for these next questions, it's basically like anything that you want from any property. It doesn't have to be a specific series or book, or it could be a comic book or a TV show, a movie, anything you want. Is there a fantasy or science fiction character that you think would make the best roommate?
Yes, I chose Aunt Fanny from Robots.
Okay.
The one with the big bottom, who was
Yeah.
warm-hearted and cooked for them and took care of them. I loved her character. So I thought, man, she'd be a good roommate to have.
Cleaning and cooking.
Just being wonderfully quirky, you know? Yeah, absolutely.
In that same vein, is there a character that would make the very worst roommate?
I could not stand Gabriel from Constantine.
Oh, okay.
I could not imagine being in the presence of that character more than 2 seconds before wanting to punch him.
Okay.
And them in the face. Yeah. That character, nails on a chalkboard for me.
All right. I see. 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. This could be, like maybe your first that you could think of, like maybe when you were a kid, or if you have any now. Do you have any characters, fictional characters that you would say that you have a crush on?
Yes. This goes back to the Immortals After Dark series. Gareth McGreeve. They're Scottish werewolves.
Oh, wow.
Actually, anybody in his family, but he stands above the top. He's up there just a little bit. But yeah, the McGreeves, that would be it.
That's awesome. So if you were able to align with an entity in a realm of fiction, become a Jedi, what would you want to do? What job would you want to have? What would you want to align yourself with?
So this was one of the hardest questions for me. I have 3. I just kept writing, and I'm like, I got to stop. But anyways, so one of them was Agent with Men in Black. That would be super fun. A Ghostbuster. I would enjoy being a Ghostbuster.
That's fun.
An agent with the RIPD. I was in those. I would really enjoy being a part of any of those groups.
That's a movie that I enjoyed, and I kind of wish they explored a little bit more.
Yeah, they had the second one, and it just did not have
No, they didn't have the charisma without the actors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, the first one just had such charm, and such chemistry between the characters. It just made, it was great.
And is there a job or a group that you would never want to do or be a part of?
So I don't know if this is so it's being the lover to follow Podrick. I don't know what he did to those girls, but I would not want to follow that show.
That was one of my favorite scenes in that show.
Yeah, I would not want to have to follow that act. So yes, I wouldn't want to do that.
When Tyrion and Bronn pull up the chair and they start asking it, that was great. It was fantastic.
Yes, it was beautiful. But when I thought about what I wouldn't want to do.
That's fair.
That's it.
100% fair.
He nailed it. You can't. It's a mic drop.
All right, you made it to the end. The last question, which for me is always the hardest. I'm still pondering my answer to this one. Is there a particular portrayal of the afterlife that you wish could be true?
I chose Ragnarok.
Okay.
Because it's feasting, it's camaraderie, they're getting ready for battle, but it's vitality after death. I mean, it's not an end of a journey. It's almost the beginning of the next journey. So,
wow.
Okay. And you get to pet all Freya's cats.
True.
And hang out with Valkyries. I mean, come on.
That's true. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us and participating in our silly little questions that we do. I'm going to post the link to your website again. Make sure to go and follow Sydney on all of the social medias and pick up books if you're looking for some spicy fantasy books. And as always, make sure to, if you read a book, go out there. Yes, Valhalla.
Oh, Valhalla. Yes,
yeah.
You're right.
What you meant.
This is like about 3 hours past my bedtime. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for staying up late with us.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure to go and leave a review on a book if you like the book, and it's super helpful for authors. I know that I've heard it 1,000 times, leaving reviews, especially on Amazon and Goodreads and things like that. And where are you going to be next, Sydney? Like if someone goes to a convention, where are they going to see you? Is it FrolicCon?
Well, we have a small one here in the Harris County area, and that's the Muses of Romance. And then my next one, bigger one, will be FrolicCon.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe I'll see you at FrolicCon. I don't know. Still have to figure out if I'm going to get up. I'm in Georgia like 3 or 4 times a year already for conventions, so we'll see.
Yeah, I hear it's a blast. I'm looking forward to it. Even if I'm just a wallflower.
That's typically my style.
Yeah.
Thank you for hanging out with us and participating in chat. As always, I love you guys. This was a ton of fun. And please send me some good vibes for Luther. He's I need all the good vibes so that I don't have to bring him. I don't want to put him on an IV. Look it up. Look it up.
Yeah.
Sweet kitty.
I need vibes. All right. I love you, awesome nerds. Say goodnight, Crystal.
Good night, Crystal.